I just wanted to go to the key take-home messages that I think I've heard, and there's much more behind this, but I think it's clear that from the results that you have seen from the indoor study, but also when we look at our human samples, we can say that exposure to micro nanoplastics is really widespread. I think it's also clear that these micro nanoplastics and plastic chemicals reach the placenta. There's no question about that. And there is transfer across the placenta. But again, I want to stress that when we think about early life health and placenta health, that these can be actually by the direct effect of micro nanoplastics crossing the placental barrier to the fetus, but that can also be because of the biological processes, inflammation that happens in the placenta that actually causes an effect towards the fetus as well. So there's clearly potential for direct and indirect effects. And although we cannot really speak about the human samples now, I think it's very safe to say that there is no placenta where micro nanoplastics are not detected. It's also clear that when we look at acute toxicity, and it's very important to, again, emphasize that that's what we actually were looking at in AURORA from a very logical standpoint to actually see what do we see when we do these experiments. The acute toxicity might be limited, but it's limited in a sense that we don't look at the chronic effects, and therefore that is unknown. It's limited in the sense that we don't look yet at the complex mixtures. I think we have to be careful, and it's also limited that we actually used the most common biological readouts that are used within these assays, and they're very much appropriate. But when we actually go deeper by doing RNA sequencing, there are certainly biological effects that are being picked up, and that needs to be looked into further. I think we are very pleased that we have a start of a risk assessment framework now there, and as it was articulated, is really exposure focused, because that is where we can start to work with, but it actually has the ability to take the hazard and other information on board. So this is really now, I think, a joint responsibility of the scientific community to now actually start to populate those risk assessment models with high quality data, so that we actually can get the risk assessment more precise over time. But we have a very clear starting point. It's clear also from the AURORA that methods and standards are the foundation, and a lot of work has gone into actually being able to do high quality research, to have the micro nanoplastics standardized in a very standardized ways, to have the in vitro assays really in a harmonized way, to have now the quality assurance protocols also for the human studies ready, so that we actually can move forward. Again, to go back to the point that I made in the beginning, but also that Jane made, when we talk about uncertainty, and you call it epistemic uncertainty, the scientific discourse, there is uncertainty, but there's also a lot of certainty about many things that we already know. And so I just wanted to stress again that the expression of some of these uncertainties should not lead to inaction, because I think that would actually do a disservice to society. So these are, to me, very important take-home messages. I think Jane wanted me to, your invitation to add that we actually need to think about the policy and the communication side of us as well. But these are really the points that I got to put up here, and then I'm going to open it up now for questions to the speakers.